Welcome to the Growth Room. I'm very excited about today's topic. But before I do that, I just want to let you know that you can follow us on our social media. You can also subscribe to the ImagineX YouTube channel. But today's topic is redeeming time. Now, I could have named this a lot of different topics. For example, managing your time. But I think I wanted to talk about redeeming your time because I think we live in an era where we think we have plenty of time, an era where there's a lot of time wastage. For example, the fact that we now have, phones and social media and whatnot, there is a lot of time wastage that happens, in our lives. And yet alone the workspace, when you are at work. Here in Australia, we've got an 8-hour workday, right? And I would like to say that within an 8-hour workday, 4 hours of that time is actually wasted time. I'm actually a very big advocate of a 6-hour workday and also 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week. I'm a big advocate of that in the working space, because when you give people shorter time, the more productive they get. But if you give them a very long, let's say you give them to work for 8 hours straight without stopping, there is going to be a lot more time wastage than if you were to just give them 2 hours for the day. So I believe that there's a lot of time wastage, whether it's in the workplace, there's a lot of time wastage, whether it's in your own personal life. I spent I think from 4 p.m. until 2 a.m. in the morning watching The Polygamist. So that to me is entertainment, but it was also still time wastage because it was time that I should have been in bed. But we waste time a lot. So I wanted to name this redeeming the time simply because of the culture that we live in. And I can't just simply say, oh, this is how you manage your time, because there has been a lot of time wastage that has happened. So the first thing that we all have to understand when it comes to time is that we all have the same amount of time. Whether you live in Australia, whether you live in the Philippines, whether you live in Nigeria, we all have the same amount of time. We all have 24 hours in a day. Whether you are rich, whether you are poor, you have the same 24 hours a day. Time is one of those things that make us all equal. We can all have different, maybe you might be skinny, I might be fat. Maybe you might live in a double-story house. There's so many different things about us, but there is only one thing. There is one thing that we all share. That is time. And so for anybody that might be thinking, I don't understand how this person was able to make so much money, but then you start to realize, wait, they have the same 24 hours in the day. So what is it that I did with my time and what they did with their times that is completely different, that has made them successful or not? So that is something that we have to first realize. Everyone has the same amount of time. All right? So I'm going to be talking in general today, but I really wanted to specifically talk into some of the things that are in regards to the topic of time that are hindering your own personal success, right? What are some things that are hindering your own personal success when it comes to time? For example, I don't know, many of you, even for me, I had a New Year resolution of what I wanted to accomplish by July. And then you start thinking to yourself, It's either I am at the same place that I was at the beginning of the year, nothing has changed, or I'm worse. I'm worse than my New Year resolution. My New Year resolution. So there is something about if we don't watch our time, it creeps up very quickly, and we realize that we haven't actually done much in the last 6 months of our lives. So for me, I generally just want to share with you how you can redeem your time when it comes to the things that are hindering your own personal success in your own life. Here's the first thing that I want you to know when it comes to redeeming your time. The first thing, how to redeem your time. First of all, realize that time is an asset. So if you know that time is an asset, you know what an asset is. Time, an asset is something that you can exchange. It's like money, you know. It's something that you can exchange. So basically, when I say redeeming your time, you have been putting your time into things that are not benefiting you, that are not growing you, right? So now you are reaping the fruits. You are getting what you put in with your time. So one thing that has changed my life completely was the day that I realized that right now, the person that I am today is a sum total of what I did with my time for the last 30 years. Let me say that again. One thing that has changed my entire life is the day that I realized that I am right now the sum total of what I have done with my time the last 30 years. Think about your own life, right? Think about your own life for a second. Just think about that statement. You are a sum total of what you have put into your time the last 30 years. You are a sum total of what you have put into your time. Well, however old you are, the last 30, the last 23 years, however long you've been alive, you are a sum total of what you've put into your time. So now, time being currency, every single day you've just been like, okay, here you go. I'll put entertainment. Hey, let me grab some entertainment. Let me, let me grab a bit of time to gossip, right? Let me grab this, let me grab that. And you stop to realize that time is an asset. Time is something that you can measure as to what has happened, whether or not you have become successful or not. So even though, like I mentioned at the beginning, even though we all have the same 24 hours, we all don't get the same results from that 24 hours. And because what that means is that what you have put into your time, your life becomes that result. Whatever your life looks like right now, it becomes that result. Wherever your mental capacity is at right now, that becomes a result. So make sure that you are careful with what you put into your time. I'm going to move on from there because there's a point that I want to spend a little bit of time in. The second way to redeem your time is to live with purpose. Live with purpose. Live with purpose. Now, the opposite of that are people who live just by filling their calendar with activities, right? Activities are amazing. Like I go on holidays with my wife. Me and my family, we spend a lot of time together. However, even that very own thing is on purpose, right? Like people who just let life happen, they will spend time with the wrong people. right? They'll think, oh, I'm just enjoying my life. I'm going out to the parties. I'm going out to the clubs. I'm just, I'm enjoying my life. However, without purpose, you waste your life. Everything you do, including the so-called leisure activities, should be on purpose, right? For example, I go on holiday with my wife, not because it's just leisure, but I go on holiday with my wife to build a deeper connection with my wife. So I do it on purpose. I spend some time with family. We go out and play soccer or play bowling or play whatever, not because we're just filling calendars, but because it's important to me that I continue to build a bond with my family, right? So don't just fill your time with things that don't fulfill the purpose that you want for your own life. If you believe that family matters to you, you would put it in your calendar because it's part of your purpose. It's living on purpose, right? I just want to quickly just talk to you about something. There is filling your calendar with things, but there's also filling nothing with your calendar, right? So for example, let's say family really matters to me, and within the span of my entire week, I spend time with myself. Doing nothing is actually a wastage of time, right? Okay, I'll give you an example, right? We in the first point is time is an asset, right? So you're supposed to exchange time for something, yeah? Supposed to exchange time. Every single hour of your day should be exchanged to something that's meaningful, right? So when you go to sleep for 8 hours, you are exchanging that time for better health. But one mistake that people do is they don't give time to anything, nothing at all. Meaning you're just sitting around doing nothing. And let me tell you something about sitting around doing nothing. It is impossible to sit around doing nothing. Whatever that thing that you're thinking is doing nothing, you are doing something. Think about what nothing means to you. Because a lot of people think nothing is just nothing. No, nothing is not just nothing. If you think about what you do when in your nothingness, what fills your nothingness is social media, right? You think you're doing nothing, right? But that nothing is something, which is social media, entertainment, right? You might be spending time by yourself, but you are doing something and you are wasting your time. So make sure that you live on purpose. Give every hour something to do. And I'm not saying, because I think when people hear me say give every hour to something to do, they think they should live like me, where I have a meeting, every single hour there's a meeting. I'm doing something, and I come home, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being intentional, what you give that hour to, being watchful of what you do in your hour, even when you rest, even when you are in that place of nothing. That nothingness should be intentional, which means if you're going to truly rest, maybe take a nap, maybe, relax, or go to the gym, or whatever. Be intentional about what that rest is, because if you give your time to nothingness, anything random, your body and what your body desires will just all the time wasting things will just come up. You find yourself, you've been scrolling through Instagram and TikTok for hours because you are not intentional with what you wanted to give your time. So live on purpose. The third thing that is key to redeeming your time is invest time where it multiplies. Invest time where it multiplies. Last week we spoke about omnipresence, and we were talking about how you're supposed to multiply yourself, right? That is part of that. When you give time something to do, make sure sometimes what you give your time to do is something that multiplies. I'll give you an example. Do you have a project in your life that you're working on that you will be able to multiply your life? Besides the time that you're putting into clocking for your hours at work, whether it's a 9 to 5, whether you're working here, do you have time set aside to work on your dream? Be intentional. At least give 1 hour a day, 1 hour a day to things that multiply your life. At least give 1 hour a day to your dream. What is it that you are working on that gets you out of the place that you are in? Whether it's multiplying yourself financially, whether it's multiplying yourself emotionally, whether it's multiplying yourself spiritually. For those who may be Christian, the reason why you read your Bible and you give an hour of your day to reading your Bible is so that you can multiply your spiritual life. When you give time to something where you are learning, you are multiplying your life. So make sure you invest time where it multiplies. And multiplication is not just simply learning. It's also like what we spoke about, omnipresence. Invest your time where it multiplies. Most of us waste time by spending a lot more time with people who suck life out of us. Have you ever sat down with someone and you were feeling at the end of the conversation you felt worse than when you came in? So that person that you just spent time with has literally taken time away from you. So when we talk about redeeming the time, it's about now positioning yourself intentionally when it comes to your time so that you don't do things that take away time out of you. That's how you redeem your time. So number 3, invest time where it multiplies. And then the last one, I'll finish with this. The last one is connect your time with faith. Connect your time with faith. So, most people say, family is important to me. Most people say, my health is important to me. Some people say, my dream and my future is important to me. Some people say, my faith is important to me. However, my question to you is, does your time reflect all of that? Does your time reflect all of that? If you truly believe that family is important to you, does your time reflect that? If you really believe that your faith is important to you, does your time reflect that? If you really believe that growing as a leader is important to you, does your time reflect that? If you really believe that living on purpose is important to you, does your time reflect that? I mean, so one of you guys know my calendar very well, right? And if you were to look at my calendar, right? Or if I was to look at your calendar, Does it truly reflect what you believe? Does it truly reflect what you believe about your life and your health and your well-being and your future and your purpose? One of the reason why I say connect your time with faith is because here's the thing. Many of you might be listening to me and you're like, David, I feel like you're talking to me, and I have literally lived my life where all of my friends, they waste my time. Everything that I do is a waste of time. Even the things that I'm just working a job. However, I'm not thinking about my future, how I can multiply that. And you're like, it's too late. It's too late for me. I've wasted too much time. Some of you may be looking at your age. Like I look at my life. I'm 30, and like I had dreams, of what I wanted to achieve by the time I'm 30. And I remember turning 30, and I'm like, man, I haven't achieved anything. I haven't achieved even 1% of what I had hoped and dreamed for. And you may feel discouraged. You may feel discouraged. However, here's the beautiful thing about the Creator and the one who has set time into motion. And that is, he gives us a new day. Every day is an opportunity to rewrite a new story. Every day is an opportunity to start again. So you shouldn't dwell on what hasn't happened, how you've wasted your time. Connecting your time with faith is saying, hey, I am going to live today. This is a new day. The beautiful thing about the 24-hour thing, you wake up and it's a new day, an opportunity to start again, an opportunity to rewrite a story and have faith for a new day. That you're going to be able to do better than what you did yesterday. That today you're going to take care of time better than you did yesterday. Never live in regret. One of the things about our life is that we continue to live in regret, so therefore we continue to fall into the same cycle in our life. I'm going to talk about this in future episodes, about how shame and regret keeps us in a loop of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, and we never grow. But the beauty of time, by the one who created time, is that he gives us a new day. Even a new year where you're like, man, I'm going to start again. I'm going to start afresh. I'm going to rewrite a different story. It's a blank page. So always leave that in mind. Never live in shame and regret, because you'll never change if you always live in shame and regret. However, if you connect your time with faith, you wake up in the morning and you say, I'm starting again. This is a blank sheet of paper that I'm going to rewrite a new story. So that is pretty much what I wanted to share with you guys. That's how you redeem your time. I'll go through the points. Time is an asset. That's what you need to realize. Second thing is you need to live on purpose. The third thing is invest your time where it multiplies, and connect your time with faith, believing that today is going to be a good day. Today, I'm going to do it right. Live in today. Don't live in yesterday.